Welcome to Transitional Objects, a podcast about grief, friendship, trauma, healing, and the strange cosmic magic that shapes us when we're not looking. We're two longtime friends and therapists who've been through some things, a lot of things. And now we're talking about the big stuff, what we carried, what we let go of, and what we're still very much figuring out. Unfiltered, occasionally spiritual, always real. Think of it like therapy, but with more cosmic detours and fewer billing codes. Thanks for being here.
All right, here we are. Hi, Dubs. Hey, guys.
Hi, everybody.
How
We're
you
back.
doing? How you doing? We're back. Yeah, we're back, and again, did another little poll. It was quick. We had a quick turnaround this time because we had some breaks and vacations, so we're
Trying to catch up.
trying to catch up. Yes, thank you, Dubs. The winner chicken dinner here was gut feelings. So gut feelings, that can go in so many different ways, right? Just that saying, I have a gut feeling, gut can provoke and elicit many things for many people. Many people just like with intuitions, or people who have certain diagnoses, depression, anxiety, all of the things, happiness, excitement, again, all of the things. So that is kind of our loose agenda for today, right, Dubs?
Yeah. And I was excited about this topic.
Oh,
I
really?
might have voted for
Why? You know what? I did. I voted for it.
I voted for it. Maybe we were the only two who voted. We won.
There were some others. There were some others that voted for other things, but
Yeah.
it was a toss-up of, actually, it was, the medications was one. What was it? Medication, work wounds, and gut feelings.
Mhm.
And
All ones I wanted to talk about. But
yeah, exactly. But gut feelings won by, I don't know, one or two,
Mhm.
it wasn't like a long shot, like
It
intrusive
wasn't a landslide.
fantasies.
Gut feelings, because I mean, when I think of that, I think of intuition, which I'm really into and really trying to strengthen for myself and really get comfortable with that. But I also think of gut stuff, like
Yes, right.
different disorders of the gut, if you will, which I know both of us have gone through our own paths with that. And I'm super interested in how emotions and trauma and life experiences and all those things like play into the disorders in the gut and the correlation with mental health. So that's why I'm excited to talk about this.
Right. Yes, there's so much to say here. As you were talking, maybe we can discuss this or pin this later, whether it be in this episode or next, but just hearing you talk about, like, this is something that you're into, like intuition. And I don't know where you are in your journey with this, but I think you are dabbling in some mediumship. Is that something that you're still doing?
I was doing that more in a structured way a couple of years ago, and I learned a lot from that. I'm still very interested in it, but I haven't really been had a focused practice around it in any way. But as it relates to intuition, mediumship, and also just not even, because that's like this connection with the dead, but even just intuition in the sense of better learning the language of my own gut feelings, what my own intuition is telling me, being able to identify that, being able to trust it. Like, that's been a whole process.
Yes.
But one that I'm really into right now.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. No, I just wanted to check in with that because we haven't. I haven't heard you talk about it, and that's also something I'm really fascinated in. I've seen mediums before. You and I even went to go see one. Where was that? In Scottsdale,
LA somewhere.
It was LA.
Yeah.
So there's like that component to this topic around gut feelings. But just to, kind of talk about it more broadly, scientifically, there is something called the gut-brain axis. And the gut-brain axis really in layman's terms is there are like things in our brain that get communicated through our vagus nerve, and our vagus nerve is connected from our brain stem to our intestines. And then in our intestines, right, it's where 95% of our serotonin is produced. And a lot of other like neurotransmitters, dopamine, cortisol, serotonin. And so when it comes to like feelings and digestion, what I like to think of it is like, you know, in our brains, it's like the thought, right? Like there's something that's scary that tells us cognitively, ooh, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm in fear. And then it sends it to our gut. And our gut is what kind of produces that response that we feel in our bodies, whether it be clammy palms or heart racing, the butterflies in the belly, right? Nausea, shaking, those types of things that I personally have, you know? And so I think just again, I'm speaking really broadly around like that gut brain axis, but we have to talk about both of them and how they do correlate and how it correlates as we walk into more of this like disorders or diseases of the gut and the etiologies of those with something like what I have is Crohn's disease, right? And so there's a lot of talk around Crohn's disease, and especially with women, there's a lot of correlation with early childhood trauma and or something that, I mean, it wasn't childhood trauma, it was environmental traumas and or stressors, and then, you know, what it does to the gut, what it does to the gut brain axis, and over time, how that can really wreak havoc on our microbiome, which again is like all of the trillion billion good bacteria, bad bacteria in our gut. I hope I'm saying this right, but dysbiosis and inflammation is what causes that microbiome to not work in our favor. So again, I just want to broadly speak about that. And also, I'm not a gastroenterologist. My doctoral degree is not in medicine. So but being
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Having a doctoral degree in clinical psychology, we had to dabble a little bit in this, but also mostly being a patient. I am a patient, a Crohn's disease patient, and I've been a Crohn's disease patient since I was 30. I probably had it decades before, and I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. Yes. Yeah. Enough of my rambling, but I just want to maybe we could just start with that, right? Like how just the inner workings of what actually happens in our body, our thoughts and our feelings. Our gut is like the feelings, and the brain is what signals, hey, you're scared. So gut, do your thing. And when you have trauma, and when you have chronic trauma, and when you have, whether it be relational or environmental, familial, that can really, if not treated with proper care and holding and nurturing, that can over time really throw our signals off. So like public speaking, for example, right? Like your nervous system, for some is saying, there's a grizzly bear running after you, you're going to die. When really, no, you're not. You're safe. You're fine. You're with peers, you know. So over time, what that trauma can do to that gut brain axis, the communication is misfiring.
Yeah. When we're in an environment that we perceive as being a threat to our survival, it doesn't actually have to be a threat, but it may be something that we again perceive, we understand it to be a threat because of maybe past experiences or because of being stuck in that fight or flight mode. Then if that's happening on a very regular basis, then our body is constantly like sending those signals of danger.
Yes.
And so creating this environment in which you're living in a body that's like constantly flooded with stress hormones,
which is cortisol. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, you know, is gut feelings also, if we're talking about the intuition piece around gut feelings, that brings up a question too, right? Is it perceived as like emotional wisdom, like an old soul, or is it really trauma, right? Having some gut feelings tell you something and oh, I know where this is going. I smell something here, because you've heard people say, oh yeah, he, she, they have such an old soul, and the wisdom that they have. It's like, or is that from a place of trauma, confusion, rupture, resilience? That's also a question around, does that make sense? Like around gut feelings and intuition.
I heard somebody once describe this difference between this question, like, how do I tell if this is my intuition or if this is just like a fear or some emotional response to something? And I think about this often, and the answer given was that if it's your intuition, it's just is. Like, there's not any emotion tied up into it, even if it's something you don't want necessarily. Like, you just understand it to be. Whereas if it's an emotional thing, it's more dramatic. There's more like, but what if I do? You're like back and forth. And for me, that's true. It's not as frequent as I want it to be, which is what I'm trying to work on with this. But there have been many moments throughout my life where I've just had this just knowing of this is true, or this is going to happen, or this is factual. Again, sometimes it's not necessarily what I'm wanting to happen, but I just know that it's true. And even if it's not something I want, there's a sense of ease with it. It's like, okay, well, this is just true. And that is very clear to me when it does come in.
Okay.
But other situations where that's not true, I get wrapped up in the drama. Like, well, maybe if I just do this, it'll change it, and blah, 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 and all the things. And so for me, I'm trying to be more just aware of that in general, and trying to be able to, I think it's good practice for me for little things, like even like, what do I want to eat for dinner, to just try to like practice in learning how to differentiate between those.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I don't have Crohn's disease. I've been diagnosed with microscopic colitis, which is fun.
What is what is that?
Oh gosh, I couldn't even really tell you what it is, but it's an autoimmune disorder of your intestines. It's very widespread of what it could look like, but just like discomfort and like irregularity around digestive issues. Not always though, just sometimes.
Would you say that the sometimes it's when you are faced or in like stress or illness, or or is there no rhyme or reason to it?
I'm still trying I got that diagnosis maybe only 3 years ago, so
I remember.
Yeah. So I haven't been able to really track any sort of regularity with it. Like, is it if I eat a certain thing, or if I'm traveling, or if I'm more stressed out? I haven't really noticed any one thing in particular to be able to narrow that down. But the reason why I started talking about it right now is because I do believe that there's this connection between trauma and our bodies, and how diseases might show up in our bodies. And I think that this is a theory, but that from having many, many years, a whole lifetime, really, it's really only been in the past, I think it's generous to say 10 years, that I've started to explore more of this like intuitive side, and give it validity and give it trust. So I think it's a life, up until 10 years ago, let's say, a lifetime of not acknowledging that, or of turning down the volume on whatever, not paying attention, turning down the volume, like whatever my gut might be saying, just being like, oh, what do you know, and like not listening to that,
Right.
and shoving that down, which is like this holding in of my experience, which I believe, having done that over years, contributed to the microscopic colitis,
Yeah, right.
the disease of
Exactly.
the gut. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, hearing that makes a lot of sense, just connected to mine too. There's something to be said, I guess, like circling back to this, as we get older, are we actually more wiser, right? Are we able to open up more, to reflect more, to have more introspection? Whereas when we're late teens, young adults, 20s, maybe even 30s, like having or existing, I guess, in the world and in relationships and in relationship with self, like, oh, no, we're too young, and yeah, that doesn't mean is trying to tell me type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think some diseases, some disorders of the gut can actually be dormant and also give us clues throughout the years until I think for when I was finally, it was like I couldn't push it away anymore because my body was like, you're done, you know? And I, again, like in earlier, like previous episodes, like I was a runner, like literal, figurative, like metaphorically. I ran, I did things, I churned, I strived, like nothing really got in my way, like anything uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, let's move on to the next thing. But with with Crohn's, oh, I knew something was wrong, but I chalked it up to, oh, I ate something bad or I drank too much, like whatever.
That was a good excuse for
I was just like,
must be
oh
hungover.
yeah. And but after time of just, this isn't getting any better and I'm withering away and what the actual fuck, then I brought myself to the hospital. I was like, what is going on? And so I was diagnosed at 31, 2014. I think those are the ages in the year. And I just remember also when I received that diagnosis, I didn't fully receive the diagnosis. I took the medication and I did whatever I needed to do, but I didn't I was in denial.
Yeah. You weren't acting as if you had it. But
no.
But you got the diagnosis and then they took back the diagnosis. And then didn't they for a brief time say maybe it's cancer and then gave you the diagnosis? This went on for years.
Yes, no, years. When I finally got in to have a colonoscopy for the first time, I was working with a GI in Santa Monica and he was really receptive. I mean, he was skilled. He did all the right diagnostic tests. He told me when I did get the first colonoscopy, oh my God, you were this close to having complete bowel perforation and have a bag. That's how long I waited, guys. Don't wait. Listen to your guts. And so he's like, I'm glad you're here. But now you're here, you have Crohn's colitis, which is basically Crohn's disease of your colon. And we have to go on medications and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. So I did. I went on the medication and I went on it for a year and things started to really stabilize. I was at like rock bottom. And so I got my body better, really not thinking and living like I have Crohn's disease, but I was doing the things that the doctor was telling me. Okay. A year later, I had another colonoscopy. Everything healed. So he retracted the diagnosis. And I don't know to this day, I don't know why. He, at the time, I was dealing with some back issues and I was taking a lot of like NSAIDs, which is a non-steroidal and what is it? Non-steroidal inflammatory aspirin. And so that also can really, if you take a lot of it, like naproxen, Advil, Aleve, whatever, that can do a lot of erosion of your lining and it can cause like ulceration and blah, blah, blah. So he assumed that was all of this perforation was from that. So from that day, he said, you can stop taking your medication. And I'm like, fucking sweet. But he did say there was a polyp in there and it was pretty large. And, we're going to biopsy it for cancer and we'll get back to you and blah, blah, blah. So that's where I was like, oh my God, it wasn't diagnosed as like a cancerous polyp, but I'm like, oh God, if it's not Crohn's, it's cancer. And so luckily the biopsy came back, it was negative, So I went off the medicine.
I remember at this time, I believe my memory is correct, tell me if not, but
yes,
you were briefly, maybe halfway joking, hoping it was cancer and not Crohn's.
Oh God, I don't remember that. But
I remember that.
But maybe you're right. Because I was in a tailspin. Real life, real shit was being thrown at me, and also I was going through this awful, abrupt, wackadoo divorce.
Yeah. Well, I think the way you were seeing that is if you cancer would be easier in the sense that you wouldn't have to change your entire lifestyle for around like you had for the Crohn's, changing everything you were eating. Who knows? Obviously,
Which is so naive of me to
well,
say.
we never found out, because who knows what kind of cancer and how intense that would have been, whatever. But at the time, I do remember like the Crohn's being such a disruption to your life and to our lifestyle that it makes sense that like anything that doesn't make me have to change up this lifestyle would be preferable. Which is fucked up.
I know. And, you know, also, I just want to say this is I struggle with it. I do. I'm in a little flare right now, but I'll go like a year without it. But it's a blessing for me.
Yeah.
It is.
Now now you've gotten to that point. And I think, now you've gotten to that point where those flares are rare. Yeah. But it wasn't like that for a long time.
No. And it took a while for me to actually accept it and also grieve it. And that took years. But look, like I would be a completely different person, I think, if I didn't have this diagnosis. And when I did get diagnosed, because it was like I was like just turning 30 when it just was like, wait a minute, what? But so I was off the medication, but when I moved to Portland, I was trying to conceive with Arthur, and I was starting to have symptoms like similar to when I was living in Los Angeles. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I don't have Crohn's because he said I don't have Crohn's, and so blah 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 blah. And that was like my saving grace. I'm like, okay, like I'm good. And then I'm like, wait a minute, maybe just to be safe, I'm gonna just link up with a GI here, a gastroenterologist, sorry. And she said, yeah, let's give it a whirl. Again, she said, wow, you have severe Crohn's disease. I'm laughing just because I'm like, wow, like it was awful. Here I am, re-traumatized again, like having to grieve this yet another idea of how I was going to live my life disease-free. And so anyway, and also that time around, she put me on the same medication and it didn't work. So that was a whole other thing, like having to try, and I didn't want to go on like these black box biologic medications, which I am on now, which again, I am thankful for being on. But anyway, and at this time I had Henri, I had a child. So that was a whole other thing. Oh my God, I have Crohn's and how am I going to manage it? But yeah, it's interesting. I guess like we're talking so much about the gut and the intestines, but it's also, I wonder at that time what made me say, no, actually go to the gastroenterologist this time. Whereas before, yes, exactly. And even though I just so desperately wanted to believe the Santa Monica gastroenterologist, as he said I didn't have it, but I was like, okay, like we're going to have to either, do I want to get to another potential situation?
Yeah.
I'm just going to do this. So I'm happy and lucky that my gut intuition, my feeling was just do it, even if the results are bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Crohn's is autoimmune, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So have you reflected on this? Do you have an understanding, or even if it's probably just a guess, but a guess of why you would have developed Crohn's?
Oh yeah. Just having the responsibilities that I had as a kiddo, growing up in early 80s, 90s. I was also an athlete, and I played basketball all year round, AAU, Junior Olympics, high school and such. And I was very disciplined, and I didn't have a lot of, lived in a very strict Catholic family. So there wasn't a lot of space to be creatively me. It was me, athlete, push through. I remember I was playing like 3 sports in the high school. Oh my gosh, it was like I was doing like 3 preseason soccer and AAU, and I developed these bone spurs, like the Usgood-Slatter disease, which is like this big lump on your knee, and it's because of overuse. And not ironically, but it usually hits like teen boys because they're active, but because I was like just running myself to the ground, I developed it. I actually still have it, never went away. But I think like just having this like go not really listening to like my actual body, even when it's like flaring or telling you like rest. That wasn't, I didn't give myself permission to rest, and neither did my coaches. I mean, my dad, I know he did his best, but he's a coach through and through, and he instilled a lot of discipline in me, a lot of resilience. But I think at times, like, he may have not realized enough was enough for this teenage girl. So living that way, ignoring and running, literally, figuratively, running away from like any pain or discomfort, really, again, what that does to the gut brain signaling and accessing and communication. I wasn't tending to my body. I wasn't tending to my emotions. I remember having explosive relationships early on. And again, because I didn't have that, I was always running like to satiation, and so existing in spaces that were disruptive. We could talk about neurodiversity too here, because I have neurodiversity in my system that also I dysregulate very quickly, and having those things kind of short circuit me can cause this misfiring, right? Any little thing can throw my system off, dysregulate, and what I do when I dysregulate. I hope I'm not rambling on, and I hope I'm making sense. But I guess the Crohn's disease diagnosis is, I think, a compilation of and a combination of running away from my intuitions, my literal sensations in my bodies of discomfort and trauma.
Manifested in this autoimmune.
Yeah. Yeah. And it literally speaks true, because I know when I have flares, I know exactly why they are here now.
Is it stress?
Stress, if I don't sleep, every little thing, like if I have a bad couple days of sleeping, like, yeah, I will flare. It won't last long, but I will flare. Like any little like disruption in my environment, stress that produces stress, I will flare. So at least like it's forced me to listen to my body. So again, back to that blessing and being thankful and grateful for this diagnosis that scared the literal shit out of me, guys. Pun. I'm thankful for.
Yeah. It made you more intuitive, or
yeah, no, it did.
Or made you have to listen to that intuition more.
And trust my intuition.
Trust
my instincts, yes. Which has made me a better mom, which has tended to my Crohn's, my neurodiversity, like all the things and the thingies.
Thanks, Crohn's.
Yeah. Thanks, autoimmunity. You're really rude sometimes, but I accept you.
How do you read your intuition? How does it come through to you?
Oh, it's like it's in my body. It's everything's in my feel, like a visceral
felt sense of something?
Sensation, yeah.
So if something's wrong for you, or the wrong choice or whatever, you can feel a felt sense of that?
I can feel it.
Ooh,
I can feel it. I can feel it. And so I keep going to this area right here. And like the top of my belly to like my chest. A sensation there where it's like what you said in the beginning, like it doesn't have to necessarily be like a scary bad thing, but even like an intuition with something that's just good nor bad, right? Like or good. It's a bodily, visceral feeling.
Is there a difference in the way it feels if it's something that is the right choice for you versus the wrong choice?
That's a good question, because I have noticed when I am talking to a friend or someone that I feel safe with, and it's exciting and it's bonding, it's connective, I sometimes like feel, do I have to go to the bathroom right now? What's happening to me? Like it's that same similar feeling, but it's not met with dread, if that makes sense. It's met with excitement, but it can cause an activation in my guts.
Interesting.
Yes, I know. Anyway,
That's cool.
I hope that was Did that answer
No.
the question?
Yeah.
If you can feel, what was the question again?
Just like how, because you can feel it in your body, you said.
Yes.
So I was wondering if there's a difference between, like, if you're trying to make a decision about something, like, does the right choice feel different in your body than the wrong choice?
I'll tell you what, to answer this question, if I'm having any vacillation or ambivalence with a decision or a choice I have to make, when I make that choice and when it is done and set in stone, and what I feel after, that is when I know I've made the right or wrong. That is when,
I
like,
have that too.
yeah, it's a complete ease. It's a
Yeah.
complete, oh my God, yes, I can fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Or it's, shoot, I think I missed something, which isn't a lot, frankly. And then maybe that's because of we're older, we have lived more experience, we have more resilience, but I will have like just a feeling of like total confidence and contentment when I make the said decision.
Yeah, but it's after you make the decision.
It's after.
That's
after.
That's so interesting because I have that too. And I've been confused by it because before you make the decision, when you have both options, it feels so confusing. But then
Right.
as soon as you
Right.
make the decision, I'm like, oh yeah, obviously that was right. That was the right decision.
Right?
Yeah. Anybody else out there have that?
I
wonder?
know. Raise your hand.
Yeah.
DM us. Let us know.
Yes, I do have that.
Yeah.
I've also been, I don't even know how I stumbled across this, but I accidentally realized this and I've been playing with it in that if I'm trying to make a choice about something, like I'll ask myself, should I do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is? And when the answer, this isn't perfected yet, but oftentimes when the answer is yes, I get this chill up my spine or get like goosebumps or some sort of like little like shiver in my upper body. But when the answer is no, there's nothing. So
When you said that, I just got a shiver.
Oh, the answer is yes.
And the answer is yes. No, so again, that is a visceral gut feeling of intuition and knowingness, like a sense of confidence in whatever the said thing is, like the question you're asking yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool to play with.
So is that some of the stuff that you prompt yourself in some of these medium?
I haven't done it with
Very-
medium stuff.
No,
I haven't done it with that. I have used it to make like pretty big decisions to try to help me with it. Sometimes then I second guess it though, but I've also just in an attempt to try to strengthen it, I'm also trying to use it with just smaller decisions that don't, like I said earlier, what I should eat.
yeah.
And I've been practicing it. If I have a feeling about something, I'm like, oh, I think so and so is gonna call me today or whatever, I'll like double check it by doing that exercise.
Okay.
And I would say at this point, like 95% of the time, when I don't second guess it, when I'm just like, okay, I'm right with it.
And so the said person calls, or
Yeah, like whatever the premonition
whatever the
thing
thing.
I have is, oh, I think this is gonna happen today or whatever. Like when I double check accurate.
Yeah, those are our like dragonfly thing. And so guys, if you don't know what the dragonfly thing is between Dubs and I, it's exactly what we're working with here. It's like these intuitive, kind of connective, nonverbal ways of knowing.
Connection with something like bigger than us and bigger than what we could just comprehend. Yeah.
Right. And we have always used the term dragonfly. And so, yeah, that's like that. Also, just like if I'm thinking of a dragonfly, or if I see a dragonfly, or if I hear it in a song, it just gives me a little bit of like peace and connection. Even if nothing's going on or happening, it's just, again, something larger that bonds us, that connects us, that is much larger than, yeah. So it's like interesting how we could go into faith and religion, and like some people could say God does that, or Jesus does that for me, or what. And so for like us, I think that using these types of things that we've just naturally gravitated to is somewhat of a like
Mhm.
kind of faith, you know?
Yeah, it is a faith.
Yeah.
And some people would be like, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. And I would have been that person 20 years
Right.
ago or whatever. I would
Right.
have, and I think this points to what I was saying earlier, is just like these sorts of things were never taught to me. Anytime it wasn't the ability of even like really making my own choices wasn't really taught to me. It was like, no, this is what we're going to do. Like I didn't really get to even choose what I wanted to do for a long time. So that like muscle, so to speak, of intuition was never like developed. And anytime that I might have alluded to something like that or said something about it or asked for something like that, it would be like, no, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. Or that's not practical or whatever it might have been. It was dismissed.
I wonder how many years you have had your intuition. And because of that modeling and conditioning of no, it's stupid, it's what, that you have, every time you have just closed the door
Yeah.
on it.
Well, I can tell you exactly how many years, because what changed it was when Bo died.
Yeah.
And he died when I was 26. So 26 years of that. And then when he died, this is for the listeners, this is where the dragonfly thing really started, was with his death, because without diving into this, because there's a whole lot with this, but because of all the like crazy, like intuitive type stuff, both of us were experiencing in that for me, that I was like, eventually it got to a point where I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is no longer something where I can just pretend it's not happening or pretend it doesn't mean anything, because it was happening every moment. And that was a turning point. And obviously it has evolved over the last 18 years. It's evolved so much, but that his death, and this is why sometimes I now am at a place where I can look at his death as being a gift, a huge gift that I experienced, opened the doorway for me to start believing different things, which has led to, ironically, believing myself.
Yeah.
believing my intuition.
Right. Which is, if we look at this through like a familial lens, it's in a sense, you're like really, truly remothering you, because what wasn't said and what wasn't expressed or given permission early on was, no, it doesn't matter. We're doing this. You don't have any say. You don't have any choice in the matter. And now it's like, oh no, you are the one that matters. It's your voice that matters. You have the choice. You have, fill in the blank. So it's like you're remothering that part of you, that little girl that from 26 on, like 26 years, you're like recorrecting what she never got.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty beautiful and just like enlightening.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very enlightening.
Which is a gift. I know it's so, when we're in deep despair, when we are in tragedy, it's like this is a blessing. No, you grieve, go through guttural despair, but it is when the dust settles, it's not that grief goes away. It's, oh, but this is what it's giving me.
Yeah.
It gives life. It
does.
And grief gives life inevitably.
Yeah. So right now we are thanking Crohn's disease and a very significant death. We're thanking those things or acknowledging those things. We're grateful for those things, for the greater connection to ourselves, our intuition, our bodies that those things brought.
That's right. Yeah. Full circle gut feelings, guys. The messy link. The messy link between feelings and digestion. It's interesting, that word digestion, it's really, I feel like we digest food, right? We digest what we consume, literally consume, but it's really about digesting trauma, digesting feelings, digesting our thoughts, digesting. That's like kind of what this gut brain access is. Yes, the digestion is the medical piece, but this is really, no, we're doing digestion of many things.
Adjusting our life experiences.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, those things need to be digested like food does.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes that digestion process can be dismantled, fragmented, on pause due to some of these early on kind of narratives, whether they are familial or relational or whatever. Like that is when that digestion isn't properly done.
Okay, so you just connected something for me there that I'm going to pay more attention to, as when my microscopic colitis gets activated. I guess if I have a flare, I don't usually call it that, but that's what it is. Is it, I'm going to track this. Is it more in times when something is going on in my life that isn't digested, like that I'm still working through, or maybe that I've don't want to look at, or something that I'm not allowing to move through
Yes,
as it needs to.
exactly. So be mindful around that. That's a really good question to ask self. What is it that I am not conscious or wanting or needing to digest?
What am I avoiding?
Avoiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And for me, it would be like, what am I running from? So it's a good reminder.
Yeah. What am I holding on to? I think that's for me too. Like that I don't need to be holding on to anymore.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Good questions.
Well, I hope this is resonating. As we do, we just go with the flow. Guys, we just go with the flow.
Unscripted.
But I hope that we touched on many things, like kind of the literal things, like food digestion, disease, like neurotransmitters, but also what we're really getting to the meat of here is how it plays such a bigger, larger role in how we exist with self, in relationship, in the world, how we make decisions, how we use our voice. It's like gut, it all stems from like this gut brain axis, is these gut intuitive instinctual feelings.
And I just want to say that these undigested, unprocessed, whatever, more emotional stuff, it doesn't always have to show in the form of digestive issues. Like it can show in other issues too. The two of us just happen to have digestive issues. That's why we're talking about that specifically. It's not exclusive to digestive issues.
Exactly. Disclaimer.
Yes.
And you'll find many things that we have eerie similarities to. Eerie. It was like, just lastly, I know we probably talked about this, but just both of us losing significant others in our 20s. What?
Yeah, that's another topic someday.
That's another topic someday. Like that is it just runs deep, and words fall short trying to make sense of it all. So we just accept all of it, guys. Do you think we encapsulated everything? Is there anything that you want to like share or make note of or make a connection to?
No, I think we did enough.
Okay. Yeah, I hope we gave the people what they want.
Yes.
And okay. Yeah, I'm good with this too.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
That's our episode. Proof that therapists can overshare too. If you're leaving this feeling a little more human, good. That's kind of the point. Send this to someone who gets it, or someone who really needs to. We'll be back soon with more stories, more tenderness, and a rotating cast of unresolved issues. And maybe a few coping skills. Maybe. Until then, hold yourself like you would someone you love.